Please stand, pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, you want to call roll, please?
Commissioner Garavaglia? Here. Commissioner Story?
Present.
Commissioner Perkins?
Present.
Commissioner Messerschmidt?
Here.
Mayor Condon?
Here. Commissioner Garavaglia, you read the minutes?
Yes. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at the minutes? There are no additions or corrections. I make a motion that the minutes be approved as written.
Commissioner Garavaglia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story? Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. Tonight we have, we're pleased to have Eric Bowe here. Eric Bowe is with Brandon Roberts. He's an engineer, and he's going to give us an update on the airport. If you need any backing, Rachel's here also. So between you two guys, just take the floor here. And basically, we're doing a discussion and approval of amending the airport hangar leases. And then discussion and approval of presentation of current standing of airport and an FAA and an IDOT aeronautic issue. So,
Okay. Well, the first item about amending the airport hangar leases, I think that the advisory board was considering some changes to those leases. That's kind of outside of what I'm
Sure.
going to discuss. But what I can, the biggest thing that we have, would you like to add anything to that, or is the airport board, advisory board going to propose some changes to the lease agreement, or is that just in discussion?
Eric, do you want to take that?
Yeah, we had discussed it. It appears that there's certainly a need to amend what's going on there. Basically, just to make sure that the tenants that are in there are current with their registrations and any other documentation, just so that we keep as many aircraft in there that are viable as possible.
And how that's connected to the next item is the correspondence received from the FAA and the IDOT Division of Aeronautics is every 2 years the Division of Aeronautics and FAA take a snapshot of what the tenant list is at Benton Municipal, and the FAA would requirement is 10 aircraft, and that is a threshold to receive entitlement funds from the FAA. Currently, the airport receives an allotment of $150,000 a year of FAA entitlement funds to use on improvement projects at the airport. If the minimum tenant number of 10, and they actually give you 10%, so actually a very minimum of 9 is not reached, then they term the airport as unclassified, which drops it off of the entitlement funding list for 2 years. So, and that deadline is coming up on February 14th. Now, I know that since this correspondence is received, I know that the airport advisory committee has been working hard with the manager to put as many registered aircraft in. So that work is still ongoing.
How many have we got in there now?
Verified aircraft, I think there's six or seven.
I believe it's 7 now.
And 7, okay. So we're looking at possibly trying to add 2 more registered aircraft before Valentine's Day in order to maintain the receiving of the allotment of entitlement money.
How do you seek new tenants?
Well, a lot of it is networking. You know, the advisory board, you know, I've talked a lot with Matt Harrison, you know, being in an aviation sector, knows people. I've actually contacted some of our other client airports to see whether or not they have a waiting list. to see if they had somebody that was willing to come and hang at Benton. So that is actually I'd say it's a pretty small circle of people, but there's still a circle nonetheless, and that stretches even as far, from Carbondale all the way to Mount Vernon easily, people who want to hang their aircraft somewhere.
So when you have tenants in there, is it a lease? Do we have to show like a year's lease or something like that? Can it be temporary? It can be temporary for inspection.
Yes. But obviously, Division of Aeronautics wants the airport, that's one of the ways that the airport makes profit, is from tenant leases.
Absolutely.
So, and it's actually advisable, you could talk to other airports in the area to see what they're charging, so that way everybody's kind of competitive for the most part. But that's correct, it's a temporary lease would be.
It's gotta be a registered aircraft. It can't be something that somebody glued together and thrown in.
We were fairly creative in stretching the limits of what an aircraft was, and there actually are some actual hard rules on what it is.
I'm sure.
And Division of Aeronautics has really been helpful in trying to help the airport maintain its status. So that work is ongoing, and hopefully we can meet that February 14th deadline and maintain that funding source.
Very good. Any questions?
I was just curious, how many planes are actually in working order there?
7 planes.
Really?
Is that part of the registration process, that would be 7 working, functioning, usable aircraft?
Yeah, but in order to qualify for that, they have to be registered aircraft. And so, that's just basically keeping your registration up and also being insured, correct?
Right. Whether or not it's actually an operable aircraft, some of these, hobbyists, aviators, might be working on something for a number of years. So that's not uncommon at small airports.
That still counts if it's registered.
That's correct.
We think by being able to amend that contract, that we'll be able to give some incentives or be more enticing to some of our local pilots. So I think the amendment of that lease is pretty necessary, and plus the language in the lease is pretty loose. So we'd like to tighten that up a little bit to make them fall under certain qualifications that meet the standards the FAA requires.
Very good.
The other item that I would be happy to report is, as of last month, we met with some representatives from IDOT, Division of Aeronautics, to talk about the airport and its long-term plan and as it pertains to the I-57 interchange modifications. And we received some correspondence last week that Al Malachnik with Division of Aeronautics had gotten with Terry Nelson, who is helping to spearhead the I-57 modifications, and IDOT basically is okay with the city's current airport layout plan as it is. It means that there's no modifications necessary at this time in order for the I-57 modification project to proceed.
Okay, that is good. Thank you.
And the only other thing I would have would be the terminal project. We received a concurrence on the award to Midwest Petroleum Excavating. So we're in the process of generating those contracts for signature.
Am I thinking that it would start maybe the construction in summer?
No, we would expect it to be as soon as weather conditions permit.
Great.
So we're hoping for, we'll see how that goes, but see what the weather brings us. But we're hoping for probably May, June start.
Very good. Harry, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome to head back to Harrisburg. I know you've got a busy schedule, and
I appreciate that very much. I appreciate you moving up.
watch out for the deer.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, on Part D and E, this is what David will address the council. Part D is the discussion and or approval of proposal from Jim Emerson to remove specified items from the real estate of 1107 Highland Street pursuant to a court order obtained by the code enforcement. And then Part E is discussion or approval of demolition proposals for 202 East Main Street and 427 West Webster. Dave, are you prepared?
I'll be prepared to present that, Mayor. Thank you. I present this to the council. Let's start with Benton and Phyllis Yates and Fairland Street. Highland Street, rather. I was out there this afternoon, about 4:30, and it's been somewhat cleaned up. I've taken these pictures in sequential order. As you can see, there's still stuff there. And they continue down to 5. So, it has been cleaned up substantially, but it's not clean yet. So what I suggest is we need to either figure out one of the departments in the city to clean the thing up, or we hire Jim Emberton to not exceed $3,500. I talked to Jim Emberton about 15 minutes ago. I explained to him that it's been substantially cleaned up, but it's still not clean yet. And he said he'd be glad to consider lowering his price based on the work involved. I think perhaps Attorney Malkovich and I could go with him and negotiate that and figure out a price less than $3,500 if the city wants to clean it up. That's the proposal.
And you have a court order?
Since October the 30th.
Okay. So what's the
How
pleasure?
long does the court order stand?
Until it's complied with. Good as gold.
Okay.
There's no expiration on it. It doesn't have a-
It wasn't appealed
Okay.
in more than 30 days.
But there has been some improvement.
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you determine what's trash and what is
Well, we have a court
their
order.
personal property?
That's a very excellent question. We have a court order here that says about removing a car. That's it's got a current tag or not. It says, the City of Benton, Illinois Municipal Corporation shall have authority to remove the accumulation of trash, junk, and debris, including but not limited to wood, metal, plastic, pallets, shingles, siding, and wire spool. And it does say that the city is allowed to record a lien for the cost incurred. So it's pretty specific: wood, metal, plastic, pallets, shingles, siding, and wire spool.
So really everything out there.
Just about. But she has completed her shed on the sides. There's no roof. There was a tarp on it that blew off at all the wind we had. And I want to see the comparison here. We've got pictures. Okay, let's look at the tree. So if we look at the tree, there's the tree. It had leaves on it back in October. There's a lot more stuff there than there is now. We can go back to September. Here's September. There's a picture there.
It's much improved.
Really? Keep going. Coming along here compared to what it used to be.
So she needs a roof in order to move the rest of her stuff inside the shed. Gosh, I wish we could have an old-fashioned barn raised.
There ain't no way you can get that inside that shed.
No, I know there's more than that.
Will not happen.
What's the pleasure of the council?
I think we'd give her plenty of time, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to be one of the neighbors, you know.
Over the last year or so, I've had several complaints from the neighbors, and they've been very patient.
Yeah, they have been.
I wonder what Pandora's box this opens. If we pay for this one, what's going to prevent the next person going, oh, if I just leave it, eventually the city will take care of it?
That could happen.
I think we're creating, in my mind, we're creating a scenario where we open the door that you can never close. Because then someone goes, fine, I'll take care of my property. If I let it sit long enough, let my neighbors complain, eventually somebody in the city will get court order with
We can't let these people sit here and do this.
I agree. And the work that she's done, because I drove past it this week too, and she has made for a person in her ability and her skill level, she has made tremendous work done on her shed. There are volunteer organizations that I would imagine if we said, hey, here's a lady who needs help, I don't even know if she'd be willing to accept it, but there's a Boy Scout group in town that's always looking for projects. There's potential Eagle Scouts always looking for projects. I would rather see it be a win and not a cost to the city or even to either department. Is that, and then we've not set ourselves up for precedent to say, hey, can we put you in touch with a couple different organizations that can help you finish this and give her a timeline and say this needs to be completed by a certain amount of time. There's a couple of groups that are going to work with you. Let's make it a win. And I'm not ready to commit city funds for cleaning up someone's private property. Because I drove around Benton this last week, and there's another lot that I'm surprised neighbors haven't complained about that's got mattresses and box springs and trash. And there's neighbors on 3 other sides of them, but nobody's complained about that lot. And it's in worse condition than this lot. If we were committing money, I would commit money towards that one because this one does somewhat look like a job site. That other one just looks like a dump. And it's income. So that's why I'm not ready to commit city funds to it. That's just my take. I'd much rather see it. I'd rather see it clean, but not through city funds.
Do we have fines? Mr. Markovich?
You have an ordinance that allows you to go to court to get a order that we've done in October, the code enforcement officer and myself, and that's why it's so specific with the language. I think your issue tonight is, are you going to have her to continue to clean it up? Are you going to use city employees to clean it up? Or do you want to use city funds because you don't want her to clean it up, or at least wait on her to clean it up, or you don't want to use your current employees to clean it up? You would rather have Mr. Ember clean it up. Is that a fair assessment, Mr. Garavalia?
That's the assessment, that's what we got code enforcement for. And I think Mr. Mothersmith has a great idea with the Boy Scouts, and I encourage him to contact him. I think legal does about all they can do on getting a court order.
And we
I mean,
appreciate your efforts and your recommendations.
If you think you can get the Boy Scouts out there half-hole, but it needs to get done.
Okay. How long has this been going on, sir?
That's just about, let's see,
We got the order in October, didn't we, Mr. Garavalia?
well, we got the letter on October 30th.
You have pictures further back in September.
I've got everything. I sent out the initial letter here on July the 9th of 2019.
I mean, she's done substantial progress considering the inclement weather and other things. I mean, is out there. I mean, I think we ought to just set like a say, June 1st, we'll offer these services for these organizations, see if they can help you.
Gotta get hold of that first, when you start off the nurse.
So you want to table D tonight then,
I think that would be.
council, as far as using Mr. Emberton, that's what the specific D indicates, and then make these telephone calls to try to help her?
That would be my motion,
So motion
my
to-
recommendation.
Motion to table D.
I second. Commissioner Garavalia? Yes. Commissioner Story? Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
No. Okay, David, Part E.
That's kind of a multifaceted deal. We have a proposal, not a bid, but this is a proposal. And that's what I requested. This is on 202 East Main Street. That was recently purchased by the city of Benton, Illinois last week for $7,000. It needs to come down and extend the parking lot. That's going to help the merchants. This is top priority for the city of Benton. As far as the city of Benton is concerned, it's going to establish parking for merchants, is extra parking for civic events, the extra parking, I guess, for county employees. That's going to be another issue at some point. They created the problem. It's not our solution, but we can work together with them to make it work and make it better. So we got, I saw 3 different proposals. I got one back on 202 East Main, that building there, and it's going to be tearing down the city wall of a parking lot and the building next to it. The proposal is $9,210 with the terms that it will start on March the 1st of 2020 and it will end on March the 10th of 2020. There's a 10-day window. Initially had it to begin and end before 3/1, but that got changed at about 5:30 this evening to start 3/1, 3/10. That's with AP Excavating. There was another proposal. That proposal doesn't need to be discussed. It was much higher than this one. But, you know, if this thing's not done by 3/10, I'm gonna be up here again with that higher proposal. We're gonna get this project done. This has to be paid for TIF funds. Clean up the environment, demolition, and making a terrible area, blighted area look much better. And it will create approximately 12 parking spaces, if not more. It's a wonderful extension of that wonderful lot. And as soon as this thing gets cleaned off, we can shoot grade, figure out what concrete to take off the floor. This does not include ground concrete. We don't know what the grade is. If the, you know, grade's good enough, you can throw rocks on top of that, pour concrete, you're finished. If it's too high, the concrete's gonna have to come out, dug out rock. Until we can get that up, we can't really tell. I'm gonna recommend this to the council, $9,210 AP excavator.
$9,210
Yes,
to AP.
excavating.
And David, you emphasize that it's TIF funding, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Blighted area. And it's gonna start under the terms 3/1 of 2020 and end by 3/10/2020. That's the agreement.
Right at the center of the table.
So, we need a motion on this.
Yes.
For 202 East Main. I make a motion that we approve and accept the proposals from AP Excavating in the amount of $9,210 for the demolition of 202 East Main Street.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll get that. I'll be calling tonight. And it's done.
Good deal.
We need to get going. Next deal is a house on trying to get the 427 West Webster. Just to give you a history of that house, it was bought by Big C Properties in Newark, New Jersey. It was bought for a total of about $4,000 plus some title expense online to be fixed up and sold at a higher price fixed up. So I talked to the lady there at Big C about a year or so ago. She sent the contractors there and they wouldn't even turn in the driveway, they just kept driving. We got 0 proposals to fix it up. Whenever I saw that thing go on the market for $5,000, I kind of reacted. I called Lynette King, and she even said it needed to be torn down, but she was going to try to sell it. And she had a lot of pictures, and it looked terrible inside, so there haven't been in it at that point in time. But that's the history. We went to court, we got a judgment for demolition on January the 10th of 2020. It'll be a final order on February the 10th. We got 2 proposals on that, and what we're going to discuss tonight is the lowest and best proposal. We have a proposal from AP Construction for $3,590. I talked to AP Construction this evening, and
How much is that proposal?
$3,590. Here's a picture of the house with a dipped roof, a separated roof from the side of the house. Here's a picture of the house bulging on the side to slide over to the neighboring place there, which is, what's the name of that place, Tom, on the side? Higgerson Amusements there. That could land in their driveway and slide in. And this is what it kind of looks like with that roof not connected to the house there. It's pretty bad. I talked to Andy Poole tonight. He said he could get that done in April. I was in front of this council back in August. We had 5 houses that we did in August. I want to tell the board or the council right now that 3 of those have been completed by Andy Poole. He's currently on Grant Street. Got another one to finish on Perry Street. He says he can get this one done in April. I've got another bid here from Chris Mankowski. you all allowed him to tear down a house on Perry Street. In fact, started that's not his fault. I've been waiting for a deed. I didn't get a deed. I called the trustee and sent an email, and she sent back that she wouldn't be back till January 6th. So January 6th, she says all the deeds were signed in December 31st, and you should receive it shortly. Well, with that taken, I contacted Mr. Minkowski that we should be getting a deed shortly. We still don't have it, but, you know, we paid for it, and it's gone. Got another house to do over on Buchanan Street. I'm gonna recommend him to do this house on West Webster, because it's gonna get done in February and not in April, if it gets done in April. I don't know, that's what I've been told. Before, I was told, looking at end of September, 1st of October for first house. I think the first house was done in November. It was right over here on Adams Street. Minkowski has a bid here of $4,250. And I said bid, I'm going to say proposal. I said right here proposal. I'd recommend that this is not the highest, I mean not the lowest, but the best bid, because I'll contact Mr. Minkowski and ask him to start on February 11th. Assuming we don't get a motion to vacate or something of that nature, I doubt that we will. It's not worth fighting over something that looks like that, but we've got to play by the law here, and no court order is final for a period of 30 days. And that's the earliest we could get into court, because whenever we scheduled that in November, and we couldn't get in until January the 10th. So it's not dragging on the part of the city's part. I'm going to recommend go with Minkowski if you folks want to go with Tool. You got my permission. There they are.
But you don't have the deed on it yet.
It's all been signed, they're coming.
So Minkowski said February and Tool said April?
He said April. You know, but he's still got 2 to go. And I told him, don't worry about them 2 if you can just take care of East Main Street. That's the city's priority right now. He's got his track hole sitting down there by your place, street department. How long has it been down there?
It's been a while.
Longer than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I just like it's just something going, it's something done. That's important. So it's up to council. If you want to spend $660 to get something done now, instead of saving $660 and getting something done 2 weeks later, you know, or 2 months later, you know how to vote. If money, you know, time doesn't matter, then, you know, save the $660 and not payable till on or before June the 1st, because we're out of funds to demolish houses here.
So both of them regardless are not?
One's TIF. We can pay that one up.
No, I'm talking about either proposal on the 427. Either one is post date for June?
Yeah.
Okay, so Poole and Minkowski both agreed to not be paid until June?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. We're at $660, or we know in February, or we hope in April. That's why you guys were elected, in the best interest of the people.
We can't do a quick deed or anything on that.
Quick deed.
I mean, you know, like in a car, like if you need a quick deed title, they don't do those for, you know, if we're waiting, I mean,
Well,
the city's, I mean, if you read on certain people's posts, they always talk about how a house was tore down illegally, and I don't want another situation like that, so, you know, I don't want to hear more of that, you know, so it'd be nice just to get that deed in hand before we actually move forward to get that. I want it done, it'd be nice, but.
we paid for it, and
Okay.
They're saying it's in the mail?
Yeah, that's what it appears to be.
that's what she told me. That's where she works, you know.
I don't trust anything until it's like right here in my hand, so.
I mean, that's definitely a house that needs, we got a court order that says we can tear that house down.
That's good.
We don't own it, we never did own it, we're not gonna own it. We have a court order that says we can tear that house down like that.
And the...
Let me withdraw that, we're gonna own that house.
Oh, I was going to say, does that mean that the original owner still owns the rights to the property? Okay.
Yeah.
We will actually own the property.
No, we got a court order to tear this, that's why we gotta wait till February the 10th, it's 30 days. That's a big C, out of Newark, New Jersey, they're gonna flip that.
But they'll still own the lot.
Yeah, but there will be a lien on it for the amount, so, I mean, how do you sell something you paid $4,000 for with a $4,200 or $3,500 lien? Somebody's gonna have to reduce something. what'll happen, they won't pay any taxes, the trustee will buy it, we'll go for a minimum bid of $825, and maybe somebody will buy it, maybe somebody will start mowing it. We've mowed it for 3 years now.
Good to know. Good. That's good research.
It's up to the council.
Chance that Andy can't get on that just a little bit sooner, because we're talking about like $100 a week.
We spoke tonight.
6 weeks difference, about 6 weeks difference.
You know, I thought we was gonna begin and ended by March the 1st, but I'm told we're going on vacation next week. I need a little bit more time. That's been planned for a year.
It'd be nice if we could lock him in, if he says he's gonna tear a house down for 3,000 on September 1st, but he doesn't get to it till November. Say, hey, sorry, you've been penalized, now we'll only pay you 2,500 or something like that.
Or maybe you owe us.
Yeah, I mean, just saying, because, I mean, the 5 houses that we agreed upon when we first took over, those weren't done in time. It'd be nice to say, look,
Yeah,
and so, I mean, it'd be nice to say, hey, look, you know, we did our part, now kind of help us out a little. I mean, you know, I didn't know if that would be something in the future too. We said them too.
I guess we can try.
I mean, just a
Whenever
little,
somebody tells you they can do something, you kind of expect it to happen, you
Yeah.
know?
just say, I mean, hey, you know, we've held up our part, you know, could you grant us a little bit of, you know, say, $500 is $500 in the city. I mean, they could go for, you know, a new clamp for my department, go for, you know, sets of glove, I mean, for all the men at the fire department. And they go for, I mean, I can't tell you how many tons of rock, about 50 tons of rock. So, I mean, you know, that could go to help every department, so, I mean, the way I see it.
It's on the table. You guys need to do what you need to do.
Thank you, Lee.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Well, all you guys are thinking, David, Tom, and I spent a lot of time just driving through Benton and going through the legal parts of these incredible situations. And Benton is no different than any city in southern Illinois. You could tear down 100 houses in Benton and probably not miss too many of them. It's just a nationwide epidemic. So we're doing our best, but to get a quick deed, I think the term is used, you're dreaming. You don't know what you're talking about. It takes effort, it takes time, it takes legwork. David works hours on one house getting one approval. There's one house we're looking at, and I think there's 20-some heirs to the house, and they live all over the United States. So it's very, very timeless. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. So if the board wants to do this, it's fine. If you want to table it, it's fine. Just whatever you want to do.
I don't think we need to say it. We need to get it there.
Yeah.
One thing I want to throw out too, and I'm not trying to say for or against, but we got to realize we've always had a late winter these last few years too. So if we set for January, February, I mean, we might get hit with that winter blast like we've had in the last years too. That might stall it. So like Kathy said, I mean, that's a few weeks difference for, I mean, you know, less than 1,000.
Your blessing. What do you guys want to do?
Chris Minkowski, did I say that correctly?
Yes.
He does really good work. He's done some work for us before, and he's always very competitive in his price. I'm surprised this one's a little bit higher. I like using, you know, different people, and we might be able to make that up in the future. That $600, we might be able to make that up in the future with him doing, you know, another project. We may come in under bid on that. So we may look at it in that regard.
I feel we keep the hometown boy, use the lowest bid, and,
That's a big part of my question is which ones, you know, Benton and I thought it was cool. That's what I was wanting to make sure of. And I know budgetary where we sit, and I know that we're talking June, and we're about to go into developing our budget planning for the next fiscal year. It'd be great to go in knowing that we don't have to find an extra $660.
Yeah.
And if that means that it happens in April versus in February, I know this house has been there for a while, and it's, that the city's the one that's driving the tear down of the house. It's not like it's, neighbors are rat infested, and we've got lots of issues going on in the neighborhood around it. It's not like it's an emergency situation when it has to come down. I would agree and take the lesser of the two bids, just knowing that we're having to project and look ahead. And even now, it's still just a budget, it's not guaranteed money, but it'd be nice to
Yeah.
say,
I mean, it comes down to like $100 a week. It's only like 6 weeks difference.
I'll make a motion to get Andy Poole to let him tear it down.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. Okay, discussion or approval of payment of invoice number 6 for the Benton I-57 interchange project.
Mary, you'll see in your packet, this is invoice number 6. It's a standard invoice form from IDOT concerning the I-57 interchange project with Chastain and Associates. The bill's for $87,760.13. It has the attachments showing each of the costs laid out for the city, all in detail, itemized with all the invoices. So we would need a motion this evening to pay for invoice number 6 to Chastain and Associates based upon the Illinois Department of Transportation invoice form, $87,760.13.
I make that motion, that we accept that, make that payment.
I second it.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. Okay, number 8, city attorney, any updates?
Mayor, I don't have any updates tonight. One thing that we maybe, are we going to do anything on that amending of the airport lease? Do we want to table that for the next meeting and get some information from the advisory board, or what do we want to do on that? Or if they have ideas tonight, or do you want to have something
We're
prepared
able
for
to
the?
meet before the city council deadline.
You will be able to?
We
Yeah.
haven't been,
Oh,
as of yet, but we do have a meeting scheduled in February, or we can call a special.
great. So the motion, we just need a motion to table the 9B, or excuse me, 9B, Mayor.
If I may,
Okay,
that falls before, or our next meeting will come just before the February 14th deadline, and I don't mean to interrupt Tom. But that was basically the cause why we asked for it to be on the agenda this evening, is that we need to move forward with those amendments prior to the February 14th deadline provided by the FAA.
Well, I think the meeting's on February 10th. That would give us 5 days. I mean, I think if we get their report, we could always hold a special meeting, because this would be considered an issue of relevance on timeliness. So I think we need to hear from the advisory board, obviously, first with the ideas, but I think if we need to, if you believe it's necessary before 2/10/20, we can.
Okay, thank you.
So,
We just don't have any notes about what amendments to make. So we don't even know where your starting point is and where you'd like to go and what things need to be involved, but obviously, you have to look at it.
if the motion table.
Yeah, I think that motion table.
second.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Messersohn?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. Okay. Council and Finance report, Commissioner Garvelia?
We're running up the ladder.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're heading north.
Okay. Have several things tonight. The first being a purchase order for Google Calendar and Google Drive and emails. And this is an update to what we have, 1-year service to what we have, and it's what drives our Google Calendar and our emails and everything, to keep everything compatible inside the office, and it also gives us our domain name and registration, and it's for the cost of $400, and I make the motion that purchase order be approved.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
And also on the topic of bills, I wanted to let you all know, I know there's been a lot of discussion over signing the bills and everything signed right now, and I appreciate that so very much. But I did want to share with you, it's just to drive home the importance of this. I had an opportunity to speak with Jelaine Luckett, and she's CPA and partner of the audit firm that we use, and we spend over $40,000 to have our audit done, $43,000, $45,000, something like that. Anyway, so we really need to pay attention to what they tell us, and I learned from her that not signing the bills isn't, these are her words, an ongoing lack. By the way, I had this conversation on January 17th. It's an ongoing lack of internal controls for the city. And she said that every commissioner should review and approve all the bills as best practice. And if we don't get serious, we could be charged with a material weakness. I guess the first weakness is the internal controls weakness. The next is a material weakness. And I don't understand all of these, these layers, but it's a greater weakness. The material weakness is a greater weakness. Anyway, with either of them, she stated that it impacts the city's ability to obtain grants, both federal and state. It could impact us in that way. Our ability to issue bonds, and our interest rates could be raised. So by viewing these and staying in compliance and signing our bills, it also gives everybody the opportunity to see across the board what kind of spending goes on in all of the departments, and it keeps us honest with each other too. I mean, not that there's deception going on, but if there's mistakes or, well, what's this about? There's questions and all that. So it's in her words, best practice. And then she also suggested that, and this is something we've done in the past, and we've not been doing lately, but we need to start doing this again, and that's having the list of bills, a compiled list of all the bills that everybody signs, and that will serve as the warrant for the bills. So I just wanted to share that with you all under the topic of bills. Okay. And I have no bills for this session. Let's see, the approval of payroll. So for payroll this time, in the general fund, the payroll is $70,548.05. The water and sewer is $29,075.50. The airport, $1,100, and that brings the total payroll to the amount of $100,723.55. I make a motion that the payroll be approved.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
And I have one sewer adjustment. This is for a Carrie Clover, I believe is her name, 403 lick lighter, and they had a loss which occurred due to an unknown leak that they had under their sink, and they have since repaired the pipe and added extra sealer as well, and she's seeking an application for a sewer adjustment. She's seeking that sewer adjustment, and she falls in compliance. So I make a motion that we approve that sewer adjustment.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins? Commissioner Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the Illinois Municipal League 2020 Spring Municipal Attorney Seminar. And I am making the recommendation that our attorney, Mr. Malkovich, attend this, and it is on April 2nd in Mount Vernon, and some of the topics that will be covered are employment policy mandates, prohibition, regulation, and zoning of cannabis business enterprises, municipal issues and annexation, Freedoms of Information Act and Open Meetings Act update, targeting problem properties, and professional responsibility. And this is, the advanced registration is $175. And I make a motion that we approve this.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
Okay, the next on the agenda, I have 3 letters. Okay, so I recently went on a vacation, and my reading material on the vacation was all of the contracts, because our treasurer, Lisa, has been reminding me we've got contracts coming up, so I need to just familiarize myself with these contracts. So that was my reading material. And then also I have Mr. Carter, Tom Carter. Gosh, back when we met in the library and we were all running, he made the statement then that if he doesn't get elected, whoever gets elected, he would help in any way he could. And so, for someone who didn't know anything about union contracts, no exposure to it at all, I read them, and I took Mr. Carter's, I took him up on his offer to sit down with me and to go over contracts and help me to have a better understanding, because as a commissioner, I have made a promise to the taxpayers that I would do my job and do it to the best of my ability. And the best of my ability means I need to seek knowledge and education as best I can. So thank you very much for the time.
You're welcome.
We met back in the library and went over the contracts, and I gained a lot of information from him, and I appreciate that. So anyway, in the contract, it gave the information about these letters. So I have the draft of these letters. The first letter, and these letters are to initiate the process of negotiating the contract. So the first letter states the City of Benton, and this is to the laborers, Local 773. It says the City of Benton Council, pursuant to Article 19 of the current agreement, hereby gives notice to the union representing the police department employees of Benton, Illinois, that the notice required no later than 90 days notice has been given to stop the automatic renewal process of the agreement. The city is ready to set up dates and times with you for negotiations to achieve a new mutually beneficial agreement. And I make a motion that we start the process of negotiating our contracts and send this letter.
Second.
You just send one letter, or do you want to do them all 3 at once?
No, we have to do them separately.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's
Yeah.
the way that you're speaking.
This is a standardized way of negotiating contracts. Is that the normal process?
Yeah. It's in the contract.
No.
As a matter of fact,
That's the page it's
the
attached.
second page
It explains it.
is Article 19 for you to.
That's what I read, and that's what I want to make sure that I was reading that. That is standardized as an annual expectation.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
The second one is President of Union Local 318, International Union of Operating Engineers. The City of Benton Council, pursuant to Article 24 of the current agreement, hereby gives notice to the union representing the water, street, and sewer employees of Benton, Illinois, that the notice required no later than 60 days' notice has been given to stop the automatic renewal process of the agreement. The city is ready to set up dates and times with you for the negotiations to achieve a new and mutually beneficial agreement. I make a motion that this letter be sent to, and that we begin the process with this union.
Form of a motion, or do you need a second? I'll second that.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story? Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
And the third one is the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council. The City of Benton Council pursuant to Article 22 of the current agreement hereby gives notice to the union representing the police department employees of Benton, Illinois, that the notice required no later than 60 days notice. Same one.
No.
No, the first one was
Okay.
supposed to be fire.
The first one we need
None of us
amended.
caught
That's what I was
that.
getting, the first one needs to say
Okay.
fire.
Okay.
That's where I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was reading all three of them like,
Okay, I was too. It's like,
Labor's
okay, so
Union,
we need that
Labor's Local
typo
773 should read fire.
Thank you. Okay. We need that typo taken care of, so that would be, okay. So going back to this, okay, taken up with Benton, Illinois, that the notice required no later than 60 days' notice has been given to stop the automatic renewal process of the agreement. The city is ready to set up dates and times with you for negotiations to achieve a new and mutually beneficial agreement. I make a motion that this letter be sent.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. You need to amend the first one.
They were all marked draft, they'll be,
Going through the slide, we're voting, we're making sure we're voting on that, it's all that. Correct.
Okay. That's all I have.
Very good, thank you.
I'll do that. All of this one.
Public health and safety report, Commissioner Story.
Not
Streets and improvement, Commissioner Merschman.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I do not have any purchase orders this evening, but I do have an ordinance that I'd like to make a motion to approve. It's for a stop sign at First and William Street. What was that number?
2001.
2001. And it's just ironic that the big tree fell at that intersection right about the same time that we were trying to put a stop sign there, which the tree kind of shut the intersection down for us over the weekend, a week ago. But that is the same intersection, but I would like to make a motion that we approve this ordinance.
I second it.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins? Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
Part D is the consideration of an ordinance created for a stop sign on Frisco Street, where Frisco and Dial, the three-way, there's Dial meets Frisco, which makes a three-way stop. Ms. Matesi came in last council meeting and expressed concern. I met with Ms. Matesi the next day. She showed me where previous speed limit signs had been, and obviously we're gone. You can tell the fence had been hit. So we've already since replaced the speed limit signs and added some additional ones to the street. While I was standing there, I actually had a high school teacher coming down the road. I intentionally stepped to the middle of the road to make an effort to see that person slow down after me witnessing them missing the stop sign as they were coming up from 14th. And not only did they not slow down, they just kind of went around me and almost went off the side of the road a little bit to make that pass. And so as I'm standing there next to Ms. Matesi, it makes it really difficult to say you don't need a stop sign. So it's not based on traffic count, it's based on me almost getting hit. So that's kind of one of those where I'm like, she's like, see?
Maybe
Like,
she didn't want you.
Yeah, well,
Maybe she staged that.
yeah, okay, go, yeah. But I would like to make a motion that we create an ordinance that we add stop signs on Frisco Street at Dial, making that a three-way stop.
As a neighborhood, I'd like to second that one full-heartedly.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins? Commissioner Merschman? Mayor Condon?
Yes. And Part D is a continuation of conversation. We do have some business owners from the square back this evening and continue the conversation. Since the last time they were here, we received information from the county in regards to their parking plans during demo and construction, which was encouraging. We did drive around when the courthouse was closed this last week, and it was amazing how empty the square looked when the courthouse was closed. That was very enlightening. And so I would like to make the motion that we amend the ordinance that we have for any parking on the outer part of the square, and discussion of making that for customers only, non-employee, non-business owner parking, to increase as much parking as we possibly can on the outer part of the square.
I second it.
So I don't know if there's any discussion part of that.
Yep.
And you and I talked some about this, so I figured you'd have something to ask or talk about.
Mike and I, the chief, Mike Andrews and I talked to him today. There's just no way, today we couldn't check, no tires, we couldn't.
No.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we got one officer on.
Yep.
Monday, we got 2. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we got 1. So, you can call the city hall, call the dispatch and complain, but chances of us getting there in a hurry probably won't,
Well,
and our resources are so short, we just can't do it, so.
And we understand, that's even when I spoke with Chief Andrews, even initially about adding the 30-minute spots along US Bank, the policing of that would be difficult.
Right.
And we understand that, if you're investigating, a domestic, or you're investigating a snatch and grab, or that would always take precedent over parking. We understand that. This is more about a conversation and setting a standard and an expectation for those that own the square, and creating as much parking as we can for those that live and die by the customers that come to
I'm
the
for
square.
it. That's who pays our salary. That's who pays us.
You just want to make sure that's being said, that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, I don't want them to get mad, so, please ain't coming down there.
Well, we can post a new ordinance up there, and the word will get around.
And I think
I think it's a good thing. I do. I've
Yeah.
always been for it. But I know some of them have said, well, we just call police department. Good luck.
well, and most likely, this would probably resolve 80-85%.
I hope so.
And that other 10 or 15%, maybe 20% that we'd have to wrestle with to be identified and called out and addressed, maybe, and even before we have to include any sort of law
I know
enforcement
a neighbor
officer.
called me on handicap parking, and the guy got away from us before we got up there, but that's another thing they're doing, they're parking in handicap.
Sure,
parking.
when there's that limited spot, it's hard to do,
Yeah.
sure.
No, I'll make a motion to do that.
We had a trailer parked in front of our business, took up 4 spots, a handicap, and 3 more from us down to Drake one day. And it went on for 2 hours, and finally I just went to the police station and said, hey,
Help us out.
All you
this
can
can't
do,
be.
all you can do is call
Yeah,
and make a complaint.
and they did come up. They
And
took
if
care
they're not busy,
Yeah,
they'll come up,
yeah, they did take care of
or
it.
call me.
Okay.
That's the one I called from Reno, like,
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
And they were tied up on a huge incident, and Don, like, there was nobody we could've got.
No,
Stuff, so. Don and I almost sucked it to the back of my truck and took up.
Yeah, just get a hold of me,
No,
and
that's-
I'll go, I'd even go.
Okay.
I've done that before, and I told her, we was when the trains went across the track, cops couldn't get there, so I went and talked to them. I asked them, I said, could you move? They said, who are you? I showed them my badge, they said, we'll stick that badge up here, you know what? He remembers that, but I went on my own.
Good for you.
Not to interrupt, we do have a couple of business owners from the square, so anything that, you were here last meeting?
Yeah, and I was at the county meeting Tuesday night, and the letter, I think, do you have a copy of the letter?
I do.
Okay. That letter was obviously a big improvement from the county side. I was very pleased with that, and everyone I've talked to seems pleased with that.
Mhm.
I think they're actually making an effort to help. And on your side, I hope, at worst case, 1 or 2 calls would have to be made, and those repeat offenders get the message, and we end it,
I think once-
I don't want to bug anybody either,
Right, but I think
I
once you
hope
get 'em-
once the word is out,
Once you get them.
most of your problems gone.
They'll stop it.
Yeah.
It's just like parking on East Main there. We had a hard time doing it, but we stopped it, and now it's good, it's good.
I do hope, though, if we have it come up, I'm hoping there is an officer available to approach it and hopefully make that message a little stronger
I
for
agree.
everybody, so. Because we know someone will push it, someone will
Oh,
try.
they will.
And we'll just, I'm not, again, for the record, I'm not worried about the 20-minute people. We're not after that kind of stuff at all. If they want to pull up, run and get their stuff and come back out, we're not worried about that. But it's the ones that, there were 3 in front of my business all day again today, so. I see it every day, and I know I'm not the only business.
Employees or?
Employees of another
Employees of
business.
local businesses.
Taking
Can
a
a
spot
letter
from
be
Fred.
sent to businesses? Send a letter and say this, you know.
Once the ordinance is
Yeah,
passed, I
and
mean,
that's what we were gonna do.
it's more of a
That
notice
was
at that point?
Each business would be contacted, they receive a copy of it, say this is an update, we would publicize it, we would publish it through social media as well. And it would be more about, hey, we care about you, we care about Benton, we care about the success, so. And the conversations are already happening. Even QRL mentioned on their Facebook page that tonight, this council meeting was going to discuss parking on the square.
Right.
So it's already on people's radar. So it's more just about, here's what's gonna happen, here's what the council's decided, and here's what we're doing moving forward. So yeah, I think the word will get out very quickly, but there will be an intentional effort to reach every business on the square and say, hello.
Yeah.
It'll take time.
and I will say, most every business I've been in contact with are very happy that you're actually going this route, so, much needed,
Yeah.
and we thank you.
Now, if y'all want to throw in a bunch of money, we can hire another officer.
It
Costs more furniture.
Yes.
How much? Rent those front rooms out upstairs, we'll be good to go.
Well, Don, you got the side-by-side, you gotta be a meter maid.
I think the men need, contract include.
You had a thing, a stick, you go talk. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, not, can we amend it?
We could be like Keystone Cops. Back when the elks used to have it.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yeah.
Yep, Commissioner Story?
But before we pass, I mean, if you're asking for an ordinance to be amended, I mean, we need to know what kind of enforcement you want. Is this gonna be, are they gonna be towed away? Are they gonna be fined? Is there gonna be a time limit? I mean, we need some sort of guidance here to amend this ordinance, folks. I mean, just to amend it sounds great, but how do you want to amend it?
That's a good question. In my mind, it would be similar to what would be for a handicap spot.
Right.
It's the same, starting with a fine and.
Or
so-
that we got in the alley.
Yes.
It's about the same thing, but.
Yeah, I guess I was just thinking it would have the same consequences.
Well, I mean, they can't come and pay a fine before they get to, I guess I need some sort of guidance on how you want this written. I mean, is there gonna be a fine? And if it's not moved before the fine, I mean, I guess, I don't know that you can do both. I mean, if they pay, they'll need time to pay the fine. I mean, the car may be there 3 days before they pay the fine. I mean, are they gonna simply have a fine when they go out, like a parking ticket? Is that what you want done? Or do you want to have the vehicles towed after 2 hours? I mean, what are you?
You gotta prove that they're gonna be there 2 hours.
I'm just asking, I can't prepare an ordinance if you don't give me the information.
That's a great question. I guess, I don't know, that's a great question. I was just hoping we'd never have to see it happen, which I know it will. Can we approve this and leave it for you and I to have that conversation?
Well, I mean, the council would have to agree to the terms. I mean, you can come back at the next meeting and still be there 2 weeks later. I mean, that's up to you, but that may give you some time to figure it out, how you want it enforced, what terms you want. I think just making the effort, I think that, I'm sure the businesses appreciate you moving forward, but I do need terms so you have an ordinance to
Well,
approve.
there's no way to know how long they've been there. I mean,
We can't.
you can't control how long they've been there.
If the policeman comes and checks their tire, marks their tire, and he comes back and that he might not even get there, you know.
Well, let me tell you, they're used to, when they did that, people would go out and wipe the tire off.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
If your ordinance is saying no employee or no business owner is parking there, and they're parked there, what's the penalty for them being there? Doesn't matter how long they're there.
Right.
Well, if it's
That's how I view it in a way, I mean,
But I guess
can there just be a penalty for being parked
initially
there?
is go in and talk to the business and see if they'll move their car, and that would be just have a conversation. But if something has to happen, it would just be a tow.
But if they park right by the sign, right in front of it, you know, they don't bear. They're
Yeah.
just little, they're
I mean, it was just-
pushing it.
Yeah.
I just ride a ticket.
Yeah, and I don't think the businesses are asking for people to be towed.
No,
ticket will
because we
hopefully.
have, I mean, we have people that come in and spend 2 hours in the
Yes,
store,
yes.
you know? But it's the continual people that work
Yes,
that's the problem.
that's
you
really
know?
what the whole thing is designed to
Yeah.
help.
Well, and the businesses on the square, I mean, you guys are very aware of who's customer and who's employee, for the most part. I mean, you're,
So let's go take pictures of the license plates and
Keep 'em, post 'em in your window.
You know, this is almost, even for myself, I end up with my vehicle sitting there loading and unloading. And I'm kind of wondering how I'm going to fall in that little mix, because I'm sure the same people that I'm worried about are probably going to say, but he's sitting there unloading and unloading. So is there a way to, I know that was a later discussion possibly, if there was going to be like a loading zone spot.
But that's a little different
Prior
than
to-
parking your car and you being somewhere not with your car.
Right, I
You know,
understand.
I think
Let's
that's
table
what
it,
works.
Table this and come up with the terms so that we.
There's questions coming up,
You
yeah.
take them in this multiple times and
Sure.
never get it right.
Sure, yeah, and I appreciate all the feedback and insight, but I do need to do a little more homework on the details of it.
I understand.
But yeah, definitely.
But we'll get it.
Because some of the question is, does it need to be for the weekends or Monday to Friday? I mean, does it need to be from 9 to 5? Does it need to be from 8 to 4? Does it need to be, so there's some details in it that's worth taking time to figure out. So-
We had recommended the 8 to 4 Monday to Friday, mainly so we could coincide with court. That would just kind of help eliminate majority
And that's
of,
the majority of what most businesses.
majority of the ones that are repeat offender anyway, so.
So motion.
They're not gonna be court for a long time, apparently.
No,
That's true, too.
Yeah, it'll create a new pattern, it'll create new habits, yeah, definitely. So we'll table that for the next meeting.
For a second, motion.
Second. Still have time to talk here.
Commissioner Garvelia? Yes. Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers?
Yes.
Mayor Condon? Yes.
And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Okay.
Public property report?
All righty. I've been pretty busy dealing with airport light.
Thank you.
Sure. Well, I don't know yet, we'll see. So I've
Turns
been-
on, thank you.
Yeah, so, we're working day in, day out, doesn't matter if it's 4 PM, 4 AM. I've been out there, been doing everything I can. Want to applaud, Charlie Casey and the Airport Authority Board, Garrett and Matt, definitely being patient. Our beacon light is not rotating. If it does rotate, it stops, and we're, for the sake of a headache and sending somebody out I wouldn't say every other day, but I would say probably every other hour, seems like. We do have it notified, so we do have the pass to actually have them hold that. But I would like to make the motion for tonight to pass a purchase order for $5,725. It's a HBM 400 PS, which that really means nothing. But it's an airport rotating beacon. It's got the whole hardware, they'll put it back on, and it's pretty much the same model as we have now. It's just, we're going from, I guess you'd say, like going from iPhone 4 to the X, or whatever the newest version is. So, top of the line, it's not like we go out and get bids on this, so I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and allow this, because to me, I think it's just gonna save a lot of time and money, and definitely headache on sending people out on that, so once again, I'd like to make a motion for $5,725 to be flight light for a new airport rotating beacon.
Good. I know that Craig's been looking at that. He's trying to figure that out.
He told me the other day, he searched it hard.
Yeah, we've been looking
He and I
for it.
talked about that too. Are there other ones out there? You said you do bids.
This one-
Top of the end. How many options are there even for that? Like 2?
To be honest,
Really?
you can have this one or you have an older version.
That's really all there is.
I mean, it's kind of what we have out there. I mean, it's kind of the way that everything's set up. This would be the easiest fix. If you want to go out and start something new, it's kind of like building a new project. I mean, we can do a whole new pole, new everything else like that, but for most cost efficient, it's going to be here. And it's not like you can only get this, it's not like you can go there to Walmart and pick up one of these. I mean, it's pretty much right here, or, we'll get it out there. Right behind the rat too.
Exactly. Okay. I just want, make sure.
Was this something, just curious, was this something that went through the airport board?
it's something that's been brought to my attention, and we're gonna fix it. I mean, this is something we need to,
It was brought up at our last meeting. It wasn't on our agenda, but it was under the maintenance items, under the airport manager's report, that it had stopped rotating.
and as soon as we found out, we were on it. I mean,
They
it's
were out
right
there.
there, so.
Yep.
So it's been a very tedious project, but I could honestly say I see literally a light at the end of the tunnel.
I second it.
Well, is anybody inquisitive about who's gonna pay for this?
No, I've done it as a commit, it's coming out of there.
Yeah, very good. It's already been, resolved on that issue.
Commissioner Garvelia? Yes. Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes, please.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Thank you all. And, the second thing I have is the, approval of advertising to accept bids on certain lake lot leases. Mr. Carvalho, would you like to speak a little bit on?
Well, just generally, there's 4 lots out there that the city owns that's not on the water. There's an oil well in the middle of it, it's not pumping. That'd be nice, maybe somebody could take it. As I understand it, they're talking with the city attorney. We put that thing up for bid and basically bid on the right to lease these lots. So
That's correct.
I don't know if we want to do it per lot, or I think we're talking about doing all 4 or 5 of them, whether
There
they're.
are 4 adjoining lots there, and you said there's an oil well kind of centered on those 4 lots.
No water, so, you'd have to put a public bid out there, a local newspaper of some sort, maybe on the internet, on the city webpage, and anywhere else we might kind of think of on that, that somebody would bid for the right to lease those 4 lots at $85 per lot per year.
And I did notice that Giselle's has replaced everything out there, and it is now an active well again.
Okay, so maybe they got her up and pumping.
Yeah, they did. It's all, from what I drove by last time, I drove by past it, it was actively pumping with new equipment on it. What's that?
It's a price of petroleum.
So anyway, $2 a barrel. $2 gas, too.
That's right.
In Kentucky. That'd be basically the city, have sealed bids or whatever, then open them up there at one of these council
So
meetings.
moving forward, I'd like to make a motion
Who
to
bid?
start accepting bids for like all these.
Those 4 specific lots mentioned, Commissioner
Yes.
Purple.
Thank you, Tom.
Do you have a second? I second it. Commissioner Garvelia? Yes. Commissioner Story?
Yep.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Merschman?
Yes.
Mayor Condrey?
Yes.
Under miscellaneous business, something came up today. I was at working out at Starks, and I got a message, a call, and we had a major water break on East Main Street. I need to adjust it, you know. And by the time I got out of Starks and in my automobile and drove out there, the guys had pretty much got it under control, and they just did exceptional work. I want you to understand that, you know, you drive up to something that's blowing water 50 feet in the air, and then and I stayed with them throughout the situation, and it's important that we give those guys support, and they had support. We had, everybody was there, so kudos to them. They did a great job. It's wet and cold today.
Did Ameren, plus that, I know Ameren was in
Uh,
there.
You better talk to Craig about that.
They have a notorious thing for
I think if Ameren, that's one of our lines, they ought to pay for having it fixed. It's always been that way. Ameren broke it, but who pays for it? We, you know, they were digging right there today.
They were notorious for busting the gas line out there on, by Domino's.
Yeah. But anyway, that's just my thought.
Any other miscellaneous business? Okay, old business, and this is really old. It may be before the new members here. We've had people that, since we went to the World Wide Web, we have a webpage, and we have a lot of hits. I know we had Rachel. It's well looked at. We have people that are interested in donating to specific items in the city. And we had a gentleman that gave us a $6,000 check for, he wanted to see a couple of houses demoed, and we're doing that, and he's been very giving. But we're reaching out to people that are recognizing Benton is different today than it was 4 years ago. And we're cleaning things up, the squares, gonna take on a different look in 2 years. So people have become to where they're getting older, they live away, they have money in their bank account, and they want to share it and share it with the city they grew up in. So I met with Rachel, and we've kind of beat this around, and she's working on a list of things that we can put on our webpage for people to consider to donating to. The last quarter of the year, as we all know, people tend to look for something to give their money to for tax write-offs. So a lot of things, we have available for people to give to, we can list. So that's just an idea, and as time goes on, we'll bring back a concrete list to the board, and you guys look up. I mean, if you see something that you think is worthy for somebody to donate to.
Had good donations.
Yeah.
So these would be targeted donations?
Yeah,
Donate and target it for...
Sure. Ironically, we've had a lot of anonymous donors, and there's a reason for that. And they don't want people mouthing around town, so-and-so did this. They want to keep it secrecy, and we highly respect that. And I would be just really bent out of shape if I find out someone, so-and-so's being given this money. Well, that's not the idea. They're anonymous. And Benton has been very well blessed, and Donnie Stewart knows what I'm talking about.
Fire department gave $10,000 from one individual for actor, shooting, for vest, helmets. Then he turned around, and they had to drown him out at the lake. He gave us another $5,000 for dive gear. Same guy. So.
I talked to him at workout today, and he's very proud.
Very proud of it. Yeah. And we've had donations given to the police department by individuals. It tells you what your first responders are like.
So we just have like a designated fund, like a pot that we centralize it all in, or?
Would go most likely in one fund, and then the fund would be divided up into specific areas that people would, if they're interested, if they want to donate to the fire department, maybe certain areas in the fire department, one of the museums, Twin Oaks.
Police and fire currently have a donation fund.
Okay, so theirs would
does not.
theirs would be separate. That would be separate.
Okay, any new business?
I have something on old business.
Okay.
Also, we had mentioned before about going kind of old school with suggestion boxes, and so Rachel had took on that project as our communications person. And so we have these suggestion boxes in the Benton City Hall, the lobby, at Benton Library, the Buzz Cafe, Mary's Coin Laundry, Franklin Hospital lobby, and Benton West City Area Chamber. And the suggestions that were collected from the boxes this time, I'm going to read over some of these, but this is totally going old school, but people can, if they've got something they want to suggest or a complaint or whatever, they can put it in there anonymously, whereas if you're on the internet, you're not anonymous. I guess you can if you make a bogus account, but and not everybody has that access, so we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity, mostly that we give everybody an opportunity to have a voice. One of the suggestions was to bring recycling back to the firehouse location, and then there was another one about recycling and it says, "Make recycling a bigger investment." And so to address those statements, those comments, I'd like to remind people that we did give $1,200 to Andy Lamont, our local person who has set up a recycling center behind Save a Lot, and he has a non-for-profit, and we chose as a city to support him in that effort. And if you guys would, if you remember the pictures that we took before, at one time we did have Republic set up with these bins, and that was near the street department, and it turned out to be a total nightmare. And Republic cost us, the fee for Republic was, it started out at $500 a month, but eventually rose to over $1,000 a month for us to have that service, and that service turned out to be a nightmare. Prior to that service was Revolution, and that's the one that was located at the fire station that was mentioned. They wish it was back at the fire station. Revolution cost between, a low month would be $1,384, and a high month, $1,750. So Republic was it was less expensive, but the whole thing of monitoring it was, was a nightmare, so it was shut down. So then Andy came along because they had a heart for recycling. Andy monitors what he does there, and we make a very small contribution for the public to have a place to take their recycles for those who are inclined to do so. It's not forced on anybody. It's not a forced payment on anybody. It is a small fund from the taxpayers as a whole, but it does meet that need. And my hat's off to Andy for what he's done. Other things, maybe a young group of guys and girls or retired men and women to help senior citizens do small repairs on homes, garage, yards, so people quit stealing people blind. So anyways, we kind of addressed that tonight with this piece of property, and maybe we can, as a group, can go out and check some of the churches, some of the organizations, see what we can come up with as a whole in the city to answer that need of helping people who are retired and aged or ill, and help with some of these things and not be hit with huge bills, and get some of it stopped up front and not let it get to the point that some of these homes get to. We need someplace for kids to go to have fun, blow-ups, bounce house, movie theater, arcade, Teen Town, just a place to hang besides on the street. And that was submitted, that person put their name down, so I will go ahead and, it's Peggy Sue Logan, and we appreciate Peggy's interest in our youth and all, and when you're dealing with something like that, you're dealing with liability and adult supervision, and saying adults and teens aren't going to hang out, but we do as much as we can as a city with our festivals and stuff, and we provide activities for kids, and we don't charge anything. Everything's done free of charge, so everybody has an opportunity, and we'll look for future things that we can do for the kids. But any other suggestions or ideas? I just wanted y'all to know what was in there. And then we had a comment or suggestion that says, sell weed. With that, I'm done.
I think that's a great idea, because Lee had an ordinance keeping weed off the street.
Yeah.
So we could recycle this, turn it into a chemical.
Plenty of weeds and ditches.
My job. Sell weed.
That's where me and Renee, Mr. Don over here.
A bell just went off in my head.
That weed.
As you said sell weed, I thought, gosh, that's pretty cool. I was thinking our council some Saturday should should all get together and dress appropriately and go down to that lady's house and clean her yard up.
I'm
Now-
game.
now,
I will go help.
What a better way to show how we really believe.
You get me one of those suits that, they wear with
Hazmat.
Hazmat.
I'll wear one.
So I'm making that suggestion. We have all these suggestions about
Take it from the county jail.
I'm
That would
game.
save money.
I'm game. I'll do
Where are we
it.
gonna fit all the leftover stuff?
In the back of the dump
That's
truck.
your decision. You guys,
We know we're not pitting out the city barn.
you guys have it all worked out, so.
That's a no-go.
Any more new business? Matters from the audience. I've got to read something first.
This is stretching.
Okay. Believe it or not, I mean, when you work at Parks and Recreation, I mean City Hall, funny things can happen. And one of the funnier things happen is that I'm sitting in my office and I see this gentleman walk by in a real official looking dress, and he had a badge on and blue outfit, hat on. And he closed our what do we call it? We call it an elevator, but believe me, it's turned into a travesty. What happened to the elevator, and he was very fair with us, what happened to the elevator is some person, someone, something got in there and tore our fire screen off and ripped it. You have to have that in an elevator to be appropriate and be legal. And someone also hauled off, and there's a very nice imprint of a foot mark, and they kicked in our door. So it was vandalized. So the gentleman did move it to where it's halfway between the floors, and we had to close it down and lock it off. So because of that, you know, we have people that just can't make it down the stairs. I mean, they're impaired. So what Rachel did, and girls, and thank you for masterminding this, says, sorry for any inconvenience, but our elevator is currently non-operational. In an effort to allow those who cannot walk down the stairs a chance to still be at the council meeting, we have set up a live stream in our lobby, which we did. Thank you. And this meeting has been on our TV set in the lobby, so if anybody was impaired, they could sit up there and watch it. And then when the public comment session begins, which it will begin here shortly, it says, please dial 408, and they can dial in on the phone in the lobby, and it'll be included in the conversation if you have any questions or comments. Again, sorry for any inconvenience that's caused. So we sent a request to our insurance company, and we're going to fix our elevator as quickly as we can, but they're going to evaluate what damage was done and how much damage was done.
Wonder if that'd be done during working hours.
You think so, but I mean, that's what was done. I mean, you can see it plainly. You can't see it now from between rooms, but that's what was written up, is that the fire screen was torn, and it just didn't tear by itself. Somebody ripped it. So anyway, we had to give the people time to get on 408, so we gave them even warning. So if anybody's up there, they can dial 408 and they'll be listening to our conversation. So,
Tell me, you go upstairs and call them.
Yeah, well, go and check to see if somebody can use the phone, you know, with disability. Anderson, public audience.
Or when we get the elevator fixed, are we gonna put a security camera in the elevator? A security camera in the elevator?
Yeah, no,
That way if somebody tears it up again, at least you'll know who it is.
It would be a good question, yeah.
Can't they run it back, see who come in and out? Can the police come down there, Kyle, and run it to see who come in and out?
There's not very many people who come during the day,
I
council
know,
meetings.
it has to be, it would have
It's
to
a council
be
meeting.
after a council meeting. There's a camera out there, aren't there?
We'll
Yeah,
see
you
what
mean
we
for the
can do.
entrance? Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle can look at it.
And Ian,
Yes, sir.
The old treatment plant, that one gate's wide open.
Right.
Is it sprung or?
We'll make sure it's closed tomorrow, or it's closed immediately.
Well, there's still a lift station in there.
Yeah, I know they've been going down, you know, trying to clean up a little bit of the whole part where the old shed is and everything else like that.
I thought most of it was all cleaned up back in there, it seemed big, but I was going by there in the evening one day and looked over that being wide open with that lift station there, and one of the hatches don't close very good, so I'd hate for somebody to get in there and get hurt.
I'll definitely go on that.
Thank
You
you.
have my word.
Thank you. That's it. Anybody else? Julie, are you awake?
Cold.
Right behind me.
Hey, Tom knows what, Tom, am I wrong, when you say that you have a concern, then I get on top. And address
Yeah,
it.
he does. He does.
So,
I make the motion.
He's scared of it,
I
that's it.
second, okay.
I like being
Commissioner
accepted.
Gordon. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yes.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, really?